Welcome to The Kingdom Sleeps, the fantasy bedtime story decided by the roll of a dice. Tonight, we will once again be rejoining the tale of Hiram as he slowly uncovers the secrets of Kopfyama Citadel and the clandestine ongoings of the so-called royal operations. Tonight's episode art was made by Rizue, and tonight's music was composed by myself. As always, a huge thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. If you've been enjoying the show for some time and are thinking about supporting the show yourself, you can find links to the Patreon in the description below. But for now, close your eyes, make yourselves comfortable, and join us where the kingdom sleeps. Hiram, you stand alone in the cold night air outside the main gates of Fort Owari. And as you sit with this stillness and the heavy weight of the night's events swirling in your mind, coupled with a deep fatigue that now sets in. Now the storm has settled. A gentle rain begins to fall from the sky. As you stand there, where does Hiram wish to be or to be going in this moment?
His thoughts again wander back to his family home in Kopfyama. The smell of his mother's cooking. The jostling and joking of his brothers, accompanied by the giggles of his sisters and the now mostly silent presence of his father. And even that feels like a comfort right now compared to this. And I think for a moment, Hiram really does entertain the idea of just going. But the consequences of getting anyone that he cares about wrapped up in whatever this is takes his feet in the direction of his flat. But he still scrambles in his mind for anyone that might share this weight with him.
It's a long walk back to Hiram's flat. As I say, a gentle rain has begun to fall that slowly but assuredly drenches his clothes as he walks through the streets of Kopfyama Citadel in these early hours of the morning. And as you trace back the path that you came to Fort Owari, you'll notice the once bustling streets are much more thinned out. And this walk truly does make you feel alone. in this moment, in this quietness of the night. So you have some time with your thoughts as you make your way back to your apartment. If Hiram could have anyone from his life, past or present, here to help him, who would it be?
His father. As he once was, not as he is.
When he thinks of his father, as he once was, does it bring back any particular memory of the past that Hiram may have shared with him?
Hiram remembers spending time with his father in the workshop, the back of his father's house, the family home. And that feeling that came to be commonplace in those last years at home of finding a delightful little problem and solving it together. Sat at the workbench, scribbling notes and fiddling with intricate designs and materials, sharing the disasters and the successes all the same. And particularly the joy that he saw in his father in the disasters and the successes all the same.
These feelings bring back strong, vivid memories of your father. As your mind brings you back into the seat of a hardwood, leather upholstered chair in your father's workshop, back home, back in Kopfyama. You look up at a younger version of your father, hunched over the workbench. It's late at night. The bench is lit only by a candle, and you can see a maniacal grin on his face as he holds a device in his hand made of several pieces of wood with coiled spring and a bright stone glyph embedded in the top. And he very, very carefully and precisely begins to attune some bolts on either side of this device, every so often looking back at you with an excited grin. Now, Hiram.
Don't over-tighten it.
I won't. Not again. Not again. But, remember, if this should go wrong, what will we do?
I will go and get Mom.
Good boy. Well done. He tightens and tightens until you hear a very subtle crack.
Stop.
Hiram, I think that's it. I think we have it just in place. And you can see him turn the device upright as a measure of its success. And seeing that everything holds together, he begins to laugh. Here, Hiram, it's yours.
No.
Try. Activate it.
And I press it down onto the table. And it begins to balance on the tip of the wooden mechanism. And then I let go. And it spins on the table, picking up speed until it's whirling and whirling as a blur. And the bright stone glyph on the top of it begins to glow.
Hiram, this is incredible. Do you understand what you've done?
But it's so simple, really, Father. It's just one glyph and...
You do not give yourself enough credit, Hiram. This is unlike anything that anyone has ever made, and we've made it here, in the family home, in our workshop. Hiram, you will be a great engineer one day. You know this.
I will try, Father.
No, I take that back. You are a great engineer today, here with me. And I'm proud to be working with you.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. It's all thanks to you and...
You had the talent as soon as you were born. Had nothing to do with me. I couldn't stop you from fiddling with...
Even that had a little to do with you, Father.
A little bit, I will admit. Okay. I'm so glad we didn't have to call your mother.
Yes, not again. I was worried she wouldn't let me back in here with you after last time.
I don't think she'd stop you from tinkering. Hiram, it is your calling.
Maybe it is. I've never thought about it like that before. I do love it. I love this.
That's good, because you are good at it. I might show this device to a colleague tomorrow. Is that okay?
Of course. Yes, great.
I'm sure it will have many applications. Although I quite like it as a toy in itself. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes. I'm sure there are more stable mechanisms than the spring.
Oh, it could be. Yes, of course. We will refine it.
I suppose let us enjoy the success as it is. Yes.
I'm proud of you, son.
Thank you, Father.
It's still raining heavy by the time you reach your apartment. It's really started to come from the sky, and you're moments away from being completely drenched as you enter through the ground floor door, work your way up those flights of stairs, put your key into your apartment door, and enter into your home, immediately greeted by the leftover mess from your attempts to dig out part of your wall earlier that evening.
I ignore entirely the mess. and walk straight to my work desk and dump my satchel on the work surface. And take out for the first time since I was last here the spinning top that I almost unconsciously packed before I left. And I give it a little spin on the table. And as it spins in front of me, I find myself falling into the chair, watching it. And catching myself before any tear streaks down my face. I wipe my hands across my cheeks and turn towards my bed. And can't quite let myself fall into it before I look down and unlace my shoes. And despite the mistiness in my eyes, discover a smile on my face as I walk them back to my wardrobe and place them glistening from their polishing late this very evening alongside my other shoes. And it dawns on me that I do know some friendly faces in this city. But I can only call on them, perhaps, when we wake. And I collapse into my bed.
How early does Hiram rise the next morning?
I think the restless sleep that he was able to have would have been roused at the first sign of light, and he didn't close his curtains.
So as your weary eyes sort of blink awake from your only half-sleeping state to the glare of that first morning sun peeking behind the moon, you are greeted to another day in Kopfyama Citadel. And you can just about hear the early morning sound of people beginning to start their day. The odd cart travelling past, and the distant murmur of market by the canal. Considering it is some hours before Hiram is due to begin work at Fort Owari, what might Hiram do with his morning?
Hiram will get up and wash and dress somewhat more hurriedly than he would in his normal routine, with the aim to make contact with as many friendly faces as he possibly can between now and the moment he sets foot back in Fort Owari. Knowing that it's early, he's still once dressed and packing his satchel much like he did last night. Again, tucking the spinning top and his bright stone inkwell into the satchel. Finds himself going downstairs and knocking on Lelora's door.
You knock upon the door of Lelora's apartment. Quite shortly, knock knock. And it's only a moment before the door is swung open wide, and you are greeted by the sight of two things. One is the smiling face of one of her young sons, and he's looking up at you with a large grin. And the other is the sight of a floating yellow balloon that is bobbing around at about your head height. And this balloon is in the shape of some sort of mamu creature, and you can see that some effort has been made to shape it to not only appear in the form of a floating mamu, but to have some kind of small bright stone effect inside of it that makes it glisten like a mamu. Almost to the point where, upon initially opening the door, you thought you were greeted by Mamu itself for a split second, but then realizing that it is in fact a balloon or a sort of toy for a child.
Oh, my, good morning, young man.
Hello, man.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name yesterday evening.
I'm Jorin.
Jorin. And I kneel down to his height. I am on my way to work, and I just wanted to check in that...
Have you seen my balloon?
Oh.
I have a mamu.
You do have a mamu, and it's quite impressive. I was tricked for a moment there, you know.
Yeah, it looks just like a real mamu, doesn't it?
Truly it does.
Have you seen a mamu?
More than a few in my time.
Wow. I wish one day I could see a mamu for real.
Oh, they are quite abundant outside of Kopfyama.
Yes, my mother tells me that.
I will take you to see some mamu someday.
Really?
Of course.
Mother!
No,
Mother!
Shh, it's okay.
The man is going to take me. And you see Lelora come from one of the back rooms. What's going on, Yorin? Oh, Hiram. I didn't notice that you'd come to the door. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm sorry to disturb you so early, Lelora.
No, we're up early. It's okay.
I was just wanting to check in before I go to work early that the issue of the noise was rectified.
Oh, yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
I thought I'd gotten to the root of the problem, and I'm glad to hear that it seems to have done so.
Right. Oh, what did you do?
There was a slight adjustment required with my plumbing.
Oh, and you did it yourself?
I'm something of a handyman.
Well, I'm glad we've got someone so handy in the building.
I as I said, just wanted to check that it was rectified. I noticed your son has a fascination with the Mamu.
Oh, yes. Yes, we picked that up at the market the other day. He loves Mamu. I do keep saying we'll one day we'll take a trip outside the Citadel and show him some Mamu.
I was just saying that I would be delighted to take them to see some Mamu sometime.
Oh, really? Do you have much cause to go outside of the Citadel often?
Frankly, no, but it might be nice to have cause to do so.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'd like that, wouldn't you, Yorin? You can see him nodding enthusiastically, or almost sort of tugging on your clothing as if to want to go immediately.
I've stayed on my knees this whole time, at Yorin's height, and I noticed that this Mamu has a little bit of bright stone within. And I reach into my satchel and pull out the spinning top. Have you ever seen one of these before, Yurin?
You see him look down at the spinning top in your hands with a furrowed brow, and although he's curious and his eyes are bright, he shakes his head. No.
Well, I hand it to him. I will be needing that back later this evening. You see if you can work out how it works.
Okay. And with carelessness, his hand lets go of the string of the balloon as it floats up and bobs against the ceiling as he turns immediately, running back inside of the house. Away with your device. And Lelora steps forward in his place. Oh, that looked quite special and expensive. I hope you don't mind him. I'll make sure he doesn't break it.
It's nothing that I can't repair if he does. I do have to get going to work. I'm glad that the problem has been rectified, and I'll...
Well, you get to work early, don't you?
It is a particularly early start today. There are uniquely pressing matters I must attend to.
Right. Must be quite special, quite interesting, doing the line of work that you do.
Hiram finds himself, despite himself, laughing at that suggestion just a little. It's certainly interesting, Lelora.
Well, have a good day. Yeah, and nice of you to drop in. It really is nice to see a friendly face around here more often.
Likewise. I'll be back to pick up the toy.
Great. Well, we'll see you this evening. I will make sure that he looks after it.
Don't worry too much.
And you can hear from the back room a young Yorin shouting, "Mother, look at this!"
It looks like he's made the discovery already.
Oh, I better go.
Good day to you, Lelora.
Good day. She sheepishly closes the door.
And Hiram can't shake a smile for a moment, just knowing how much Yorin is enjoying that, but on a deeper, almost more conniving level, realizes that he is guaranteed that if he doesn't come back here this evening, there will be someone who will be worried. And he continues his journey down the stairs into the street and wants to keep an eye out for Zilch in the street on his steps up to his building.
As you enter onto the early morning street upon which you live, with the sun now beginning to really peek through the moon and the clouds, and day dawning upon you, that chorus of the bustle of work and industry playing in the atmosphere, you look over to that stoop where you met Zilch once before. And at first, you see nothing. But just as you look over, the door of that apartment opens, and a tired, hobbling Zilch begins to make his way down the steps and picks up a broom that leans against the wall of his building just outside the steps, and begins to scour the front porch area of the dust and debris of the wind and rain from the night before.
Hiram will cross the street and approach Zilch. As he's doing so, thinking about what he's just secured, that inadvertent concern that Lilora and her family will feel if he doesn't come back. He feels a plan coming together in his mind, a design that hasn't yet got all the pieces in place, but he knows the next move. Good morning, Zilch. You must have the cleanest stoop in all of Kopfyama.
And without looking up at you, but just inclining his head enough, and you can see the coy little smile on his face, he says, "You sure right I do. You sure right I do."
You haven't, spotted anything out of the ordinary since I last saw you?
Out of the ordinary? What a funny question to be asking so early in the morning. And what, can I ask, would you describe as out of the ordinary?
Well, to be a little more forward, you haven't been bumping into a bookkeeper from Fort Owari named Vorik, have you?
Here you notice that he begins to stop sweeping, and his brow furrows. And even without insight, you can see that he didn't expect you to say that. He looks to you, broom still in hand. No, I can't say I have.
That's fine.
Although I will say, the Guardians Guild entered your building last night. I thought that might be possibly what you're inquiring as to.
I suppose that would be out of the ordinary for yourself, but not entirely unexpected for me.
Strange that. I'm not sure I really properly ask you what it is you do over there, Fort Owari, really specifically.
You know, Zilch, I thought I knew, but I've become less confident very recently. You notice the comings and goings on this street? I wonder if I might ask you to pay even greater notice to my comings and goings on this street.
Is that because you're expecting to do a lot of coming and going? Or maybe not so much?
I hope that there will be more coming and going, but I would like it to be noticed if there isn't.
And he begins to start sweeping again, but his brow is still furrowed and now looks down to the ground. And Hiram, if I don't happen to notice you coming back around the street so much, what is it you'd like me to do exactly?
Tell people. Ask some questions.
I can certainly tell people. I'm not the sort to ask too many questions.
I would like you to ask the kinds of questions that provoke others to ask yet more questions. This is a big city, Zilch, and I'm sure people come and go and are seen only fleetingly. You will have seen more faces past this stoop than you could possibly remember.
You'd be surprised what I remember.
I'm glad to hear it, Zilch. I guess what I'm getting at is that people could disappear. And who would know?
Aye. Well, I tell you what, Hiram, if it happens to you, it wouldn't be the first.
You have friends who have gone missing.
I wouldn't say friends. You're at their apartment you live in. It were given you, were it not? By the Guardians Guild, yeah?
Yes?
For your placement. Come here. You work for them, they give you accommodation. Who do you suppose is living there before you was?
I didn't ask.
Another young lady, engineer, come to work for the Guardians Guild. That's their established accommodation. Well, she weren't here for quite as long as you was. And I can't say I spoke to her much more than I talk to you now, but one day, she just weren't here no more. As far as I asked around, they didn't make much of a fuss of leaving.
Her belongings were abandoned?
Well, let me say this, Hiram. I'm on this stoop most days,
most every day. I didn't see nobody move out. But I did see a few guardians poking around thereafter.
You can't be the only person who's noticed this kind of thing.
You're too right. Plenty of people on the street are acquainted.
And how do those people feel about that?
I'm sorry to say, Hiram, Kopfyama Citadel, if you live here long enough, you know not to ask too many questions. So if you don't come back, I'll do my best. But you'll be hard-pressed to try and make people make a fuss in this city.
And what do you think would happen if I made a fuss?
I think I'd be saying hello to the next person who'd be staying in that flat. And honestly, Hiram, I don't want to have to do that.
Any advice?
I don't know what you do. I don't know who you are or what you've learned. My advice would be keep it to yourself until you absolutely have to.
Thank you, Zilch.
Pleasure.
I won't say see you soon.
Well, I hope I do. And, I'll let you know if I meet any bookkeepers.
You might need more help than me.
Good to know. And he pushes forward his broom as he continues to clear the stoop.
Hiram will turn back towards his apartment doors, the doors to the building, and wonder if his normal transport to work will be coming today or not. And wonder even again whether he would like to make an early start to work. And he looks around for any sign of the bright stone vehicle that would normally take him to work.
And presuming this is roughly the time that he would be expecting that vehicle to appear.
I think it's earlier than that. Hiram was up earlier than he normally would be, I think.
Standing in the street as he looks around, things are still quiet, and he sees no sign of that usual bright stone vehicle that would ferry him.
He begins to walk towards Fort Owari.
As he begins to walk towards Fort Owari, there are many roads, many lanes that could take him there. He could walk back through the entertainment district as he did the night before to find somewhere to eat. He could take a stroll through one of the central parks that line the canal just along the way before the bridge. Or he could perhaps take a jaunt through the shopping quarters, the markets that line the other side of the canal.
Hiram decides to go via the markets, and is going to stop off in as many small grocers and stalls as he can, leaving the money up front and purchasing goods to be collected this evening on his way back from work. And assuming that there's no friction in doing so, will then walk towards the fort via the area that he knew Faye's abode was, in hopes of bumping into her on her commute.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. As you enter through the market, you've actually turned up at a time that is just about early enough to see people still setting up stalls, though some have arrived earlier, and you don't have a problem procuring certain orders for later pickup. But go ahead and roll me a D10, please.
It's a 1.
As you make your way through this early morning market, nobody seems to want to entertain an early morning delivery during their rushed setup, other than a early rising, excuse the pun, baker who happens to be quite eager to take an order from yourself. And you can successfully leave that with him. And let's say that he, being quite pleased to have received an order so early in the day, you make quite a nice impression on him. In order to head towards the direction of Faye's apartment, or where you believe it to be, where you were led, you'll need to travel a little bit back on yourself through the market, but not in a direction so much that is counterproductive to getting towards Fort Owari. Basically, all roads lead to the central fort, thereabouts. And as you enter that sort of suburban district, it's beginning to be the time of day where a lot of commuters are beginning to flood the streets, stumping along, making their ways to wherever it is that they need to be. But crowds begin to form and carts begin to fill the roads a little thicker, and you're now having to put in a little more effort to pass a certain person from a crowd. So if you would roll me an investigation.
22.
With a 22, although you are somewhat arbitrarily wandering these few square blocks in an area that you believe Faye's apartment to be, and the odds are somewhat stacked against you. Remarkably, keeping a keen eye on the hustle and bustle as you go, with the determination to see Faye specifically. As you are walking across one of the side streets to make another loop of this area that you've been searching for a few loops now, you happen to see Faye walking along the street. She has a hurried step to her. She carries a large leather satchel on her side, and you can see her merfolk tail swings with what you know from merfolk to be a little anxiety in her step. She seems rushed to get to work.
Is she walking towards me or away from me?
You are coming down a road, and she walks at the tangent of where you stand in the lane, so you just exit this street as she walks across your vision, not having seen you.
I would like to nonchalantly find myself walking near side by side with her and attempt to feign noticing her at around the time that she might notice me.
Please roll me an athletics as she is moving at some pace.
That's a 12.
You have to almost skip on your heels in order to begin catching up with her almost as soon as you've seen her. And you're not only having to move quickly, but barge your way through what is now a torrent of commuters moving either side of the street. You are somewhere close in between Fort Owari itself, one of the largest employers in the Citadel, and the entertainment district, probably the second most largest employer. And so the thoroughfare in this particular area is great, and as such you're struggling to wade through these crowds of people. You do happen to just about catch up at a distance from Faye, but you find yourself in a position where you are only able to just keep up with her without absolutely running after her. But you're at a distance where you're not able to touch her. You're a few good paces behind her, and so you trail out of sight of her. You're following her at a distance, but without making a fuss of yourself or making yourself evident that you're trying to follow her. That is as close as you can remain as she continues to travel.
I call out over the crowds. Hey, good morning.
As soon as you say this, she stops in her tracks, sharply, almost too quickly. And she spins around and over the heads of the crowd, spots you out You see a big smile fill her face. And she comes stepping towards you.
Oh, Hiram, it's a pleasure to see you. I didn't know that you walked this way to work.
I don't normally. I was hoping to bump into you before work started today.
Oh, I was hoping to bump into you too. That's one of the reasons I'm going earlier than I might usually. Did you happen to? Of course, it's not been very much time, but did you happen to look over the plans that I showed you?
I did, briefly, admittedly, but I left a few notes and put them on Hiram Block's workstation. Hey, I was quite impressed. There are some refinements required, but I understand this is an ongoing project, and I wanted to catch you because I left a note with Hiram saying that I would be delighted to consult on your designs in future if you were keen to work with me.
Well, that's extremely kind, Hiram. Of course I would. Thank you. I feel honored that you would say such nice things about my designs.
My pleasure, truly, and
Sorry, I don't mean to. I just don't understand. You've already put the plans on with Hiram. You spoke to him. I only saw you last night.
I didn't speak to Hiram. I went back to the offices after I saw you last night.
Sure. You went back.
There were a few other pressing matters I realized would be best attended to urgently.
Sure. I hope you managed to see to them.
I made a good start.
Good. And everything went as you expected in the matters that you had to attend to?
Things are less and less going as I expect these days. Hey, but it's all in hand. When you speak with Hiram Block today, he'll be expecting you to mention me, given the notes I left on his desk.
Certainly.
Just be sure to insist that your designs find their way to my desk.
I certainly will.
I will be otherwise predisposed today and won't be able to come myself to attend to things as I might like to. Insist.
Sure. Do you think you might be available again this evening? It would be great to talk to you in general about the industry and certain other things.
I would very much like that. I'm not sure if my work commitments will allow that today, but let's say yes. After you finish your shift today, ask after me. And it might be a good excuse to peel myself away from the duties keeping me late.
I will. Do you know what department you'll be in by the end of the day?
I'm afraid I can't answer that right now. You understand?
I do. Well, I certainly hope to see you, Hiram. I think it might be important for us to talk.
Perhaps so. We share a destination. We could talk somewhat now if...
Of course. Let's get to work.
Did you have anything in particular you wanted to talk about?
Roll me an insight, please.
It's a 4.
Faye is thinking hard. You can see she's thinking hard. But you cannot discern this steely emotion on her face.
I've been at Fort Owari for a couple of years now. Which I think is longer than you. Is that right?
Yes, I only been here around a year.
Of course, I'm only a student. I don't deal with things as big or important as what you do. It's a funny place to work, isn't it? Fort Owari.
How do you mean?
Well, there aren't many other jobs where you have to be escorted to where you have to go.
Yes, it is a uniquely paranoid atmosphere.
Paranoid is a good word to use, I guess. Yeah, and well, I don't know. The longer I've been there, you know, the more I'm hearing stuff like you just said, where I'll want to get in touch with someone and, well, they can't tell me where they are at the end of the day. Which, of course, is expected in a military operation. Certain things have to be secret, don't they?
Of course.
For the better of the kingdom.
Well, you'd certainly hope so.
You'd certainly hope so. When you hear him.
And you'd certainly worry if the priority was anything other than that.
That would give me great concern.
Give me grave concern also.
And you can see her look ahead. She no longer stares into your eyes as she had done before, and she looks to her feet as she begins to walk across the bridge that crosses the canal towards the entrance of Fort Owari with you.
But of course, why would the Guardians Guild or the Royal Council have any reason to not have our best interests at heart? That's a silly suggestion, I think.
Well, I wonder, hey, do you know many people who are concerned?
No. I don't know many people that are concerned. Not that I've spoken to. Do you?
Not many, but more and more.
Well, here we are.
As you approach the front gate,
I'll ask after you at the gate, and perhaps we could take a walk in the park this evening before dinner. And it would be great to talk to you about my agricultural design. Absolutely.
Do insist. I might need a good excuse to get away.
Ha. Sure, okay, I will.
A pleasure, Faye.
Always a pleasure, Hiram. I hope to see you tonight.
Yes. I would like to make a point of asking the guards in earshot of Faye to basement development, please.
I think in order to make that as smooth as possible, or to dictate how smooth you're able to make that clear without it being obvious you're trying to make it be heard, I'll need a performance check, please.
It's a 19.
And so with those words, basement development, you can just about in your peripherals see a lingering Faye who just for an instant pauses in your eye line and moves away as the flustered guards gather together, nod, open up the turnstile gates to allow you through and guide you into the early morning welcoming chamber of Fort Owari. Feeling a lot more alive, a lot more buzz with those employed in the operations of the fort this morning. And the guards say very little to you as they guide you through the building this morning, even still taking you through those curved corridors, exactly through the same path you went last night.
As we walk, I would like to keep an eye out for anyone that I even vaguely know or recognize, especially if I know their name, and say, somewhat pointedly, but not in a manner that induces social awkwardness, a good morning to them all, by name if I can, just to be noticed.
Let me just roll your luck this morning. Say if we get over a 10, there's a good chance you'll have seen someone. And with a natural 20, you see both Sharp and Warwick as you make your way through these early parts of the corridors. And you are very able to stop, wish them a good morning, and with the confidence with which you do so, you may even exchange a few other words, if you wish, to either of them.
Are they together, or are these separate?
Two separate
meetings?
occasions.
Who do I meet first?
You meet Sharp first.
Good morning, Sharp. You're certainly putting in a long shift, my friend.
Yes, sir.
When do they give you a break, my man?
The fort never sleeps.
But Sharp must.
I have slept. Do not worry.
I'm glad to hear it. Got some new duties today. I must keep on, but
I'm sure you do, Hiram. I'm sure you do. Good luck.
You too, Sharp. Warwick!
You catch Warwick as he crosses your path towards his department. And though he doesn't carry a bundle of requests as he did before. He still moves with a hurried and anxious pace, and you can see a real tiredness in his eyes.
Oh, well, good morning, Hiram. I didn't think you'd be in so early, considering you were in so early, or late, or whatever that is.
I trust you were able to get everything you needed done?
Just about. Yes, I had to work a long time at it, but it's all done.
And I haven't caused you any lasting trouble?
I don't think so, Hiram. I think everything's all right.
Vorik, let me make it up to you. The inconveniences I've caused you. After work this evening, let me buy you a drink.
Oh, thank you, Hiram. Sure. Hopefully I won't have too much to do. Yes, why don't you come and find me in my office? You know where I am. We'll go for a drink.
Sounds good. There may be a few others who may come. Faye, she's a student. Has me consulting on some designs. You don't mind a little extra company?
Oh, no. If you want to bring someone, I'm sure that's fine. I'm sociable.
I'm sure of it. I'll come by your office, but if I'm running late for any reason, you may find Faye in the entrance hall. I'll try and meet you there.
Okay. What does Faye look like?
She's a merfolk. Young. You won't miss her. She's full of enthusiasm.
Sure, I think I might have seen her. Not too many merfolk in Kopfyama. Okay. Thanks, Hiram. I'll see you later.
Sounds good.
And with a small smile on his face, but still that sort of anxious step at his heels, he trails off. And with that later appointment secured, you make your way through those very many heavy gates towards the basement of Fort Owari. Slowly trundling down those long, bright stone lamp lit hallways until you reach the large hangar, which looks very much as it did before, still as abuzz as the evening previous, with work and energy and anxious readiness to fulfill their duty. You walk through the hangar, through that next heavy guarded door. This time not greeted by the Servant Supreme. Access is granted by another member of the Guardians Guild staffed in the hangar itself. And you are invited to enter alone.
I presume this Guardians Guild member has a similar passing stone to the Servant Supreme.
He does.
Am I able to get a better look at this guard's passing stone?
Roll me an investigation.
That's a dirty 20.
Beautiful. Less elegant and dexterous as the Servant Supreme was the night before, this guard fumbles his passing stone out of a pocket and allows you to fairly clearly get a look at this stone. And you're very used to looking at glyphs, you know them inside out. And so at a glance, you can see the various generic pathways that have been carved into this stone, that have been laid on top of each other to allow for a rotating mechanism to do a specific thing. Key glyphs are, unlike most bright stone glyphs, quite rudimentary, because they only really need to do a turn to the left, a switch to the right, a move up, a certain instruction set of if this, then that. And even though to a layman, even some masters, this glyph might look complex, to you, especially on a dirty 20, it is locked in your head. And at least for the next half an hour, while your memory can retain it, you'd easily be able to etch it into a notebook.
And I walk through the door as beckoned and look around the hallway for any sign of what to do next.
The hallway is empty, though you believe you could remember the door at which you entered before. Curiously, the doors in this hallway are not labeled in any way.
Is there an end to the hallway in sight?
There is. It goes some way. There are perhaps 6 doors on either side of this hallway. And as far as you can see, standing at the other end of it, there is another less large, but still heavy metal and bright stone gate at the end.
There are no other guards in this corridor.
No.
I'd like to take a look around the corridor to see if there is any discernible surveillance equipment.
Roll me an investigation, please.
It's a 12.
Looking around, the ceiling, the corners, the doors, the floor, the dimly lit bright stone lamps above your head. There doesn't appear, evidently, to be any surveillance equipment. If there were, it would be quite covert, perhaps hidden in some of the intricate carvings that line the archways of the entrances to the door, or the coving that lines the stone walls, or possibly even in the dim bright stone lamps above your head, though from your experience there doesn't appear to be any artifacts of alteration in these things.
Hiram will call out to see if anyone replies. Hello? Is there anyone there?
Hiram pauses for a moment. And then, after just a moment, a door up the corridor opens, the one you entered through before, and you see the face of Farwell poke itself out. Just after Farwell shows himself, another door closer to you opens, and you see a elderly Dwergar man with a long beard. Looks like he's got a lot of grease over his clothes. And he looks between Farwell and yourself, just confused as to the shouting outside, and Farwell looks to this man, says, "Oh, don't worry, Petra, don't worry, he's with me." And the Dwergar gentleman grumbles and makes his way back into his room. "Hiram, good morning. Glad you made it here."
Morning, Farwell.
"I hope you slept all right. Come this way."
I go into Farwell's room. No sign of the Servant Supreme this morning?
Oh, no, I'm not sure he'll be joining us. He doesn't often join us. Although I'm thinking perhaps he may at some point today or tomorrow, or I don't know. I'm sure he'd be interested to see our progress with this.
And are you able to share anything more with me this morning than you were last night?
Yes, I've been instructed that I am now at least able to show you the particular power source. Although, he gestures towards the machine, now newly fixed. The cracked glass has been repaired, and the setup looks as default as you saw it when you first entered the night previous. I am not able to open this particular device as it is been sealed, but here, and he ushers you towards his long workbench at the back end of this room, which is scattered with various parchment of notes and tools and bolts and glass tubes, but sat bang on top of it is another similar metallic box, but this clearly has a sealed lid on it. Now this box is fairly large, I'd say 3 foot by 3 foot, and it occupies most of the desk as it sits on top of it. And there are, as you come up towards it, 4 bolts that seem to secure the lid to the top.
Forgive me, Farwell. Before you start, if you wouldn't mind me taking some notes, and I'll pull some parchment and a quill out of my satchel and immediately jot down the key glyph that I saw outside.
Please. I'd like to roll me a... Well, actually, I'll ask you first. Are you being covert about this?
I am genuinely writing, like, a title at the top of the page and a date, as I might if I were taking notes on any project. And then just below that, adding this little key glyph.
Okay. In which case, I feel that Farwell would probably be more occupied with what he's doing and preparing what he's about to show you than with your notes, especially if you are intermingling them with legitimate notes. So you successfully do this. And as you do, Farwell is putting these thick rubber gloves on and taking a large sort of screwdriver-like tool from his desk in one of his hands, and then grabbing some goggles and fastening them to his head. He gestures to the table where you will see another set of gloves and goggles, sort of nods his head, instructing you to do the same.
I don the gloves and the goggles. So, I wasn't completely off base yesterday when I mentioned a volatile power source. I simply misidentified the power source.
Yes, that's correct to a certain degree. What I'm about to show you, Hiram, is, well, it's what we have dubbed as corrupted stone. It was first discovered in Shuetsuna, some of the Deadlands. And it is bright stone with a curious property that we have not yet seen It appears to be fairly rare, though we have found a significant amount of it. And it has its own unique properties. Whilst we haven't really truly been able to refine it in the way that we do standard, unadulterated bright stone, using it in combination with other particular bright stone technologies, we've found that we can harness its peculiar abilities. So I will show you it now. I will ask you to stand back. The containment of this is crucial. It is quite volatile, but it seems to recede in extreme heat. That is why we have embedded several bright stone glyphs inside that keep the temperature hot. It stabilizes it to a certain degree.
Last night I suspected the heat was a byproduct of the generation of the form, but it is in fact a containment.
This is right. I was dying to tell you at the time, but I wasn't sure what I was able to divulge. But yes, it is a feature. It ensures that this particular corrupted stone is stabilized. Let's say that.
And forgive my skepticism, Farwell, but how certain of our safety are you right now with this volatile fuel source?
Well, I've openly shown the corrupted stone several times. Well, obviously we must take some precaution, the gloves and the goggles. In its unstable state, I would say it is quite dangerous, or at least I've heard. I've never seen it in an unstable state. But contained, I think it's reasonably safe.
And forgive me, what exactly is keeping it in a stable state right now?
I'm told it is the heat, the extreme heat.
And that's being produced in this box on the desk right now?
That's right, yes, via glyphs embedded inside it.
Okay. Please continue. I will make notes and I'm sure ask more questions after your demonstration.
Right then, here we are. And he takes his screwdriver-like tool and begins to unfasten these large bolts on each corner of this box. And as he pulls up the lid, you step forward just slightly to look inside over the top of this box. What you see at your core, in a way you can't really explain, disturbs you. You see a lump of raw bright stone, the size of your fist. But emitting from the top of it is this black, undulating, inky mass. It appears like viscous liquid made of darkness itself. And inside the box it appears to be trembling and
quivering, as if being pushed down inside of itself by some strong, invisible force. As you look at the dark, oily, iridescent surface of this strange matter atop the bright stone, it inherently affects your very soul with a deep sense of uneasiness. As you can see, quite unusual. But as you saw last night, it has some strange and unique, quite powerful properties when used correctly.
Barwell, you have quite a knack for understatement, don't you?
Don't know what you mean.
Whatever this is, it is not just unusual. It is profoundly disturbing. Surely you feel it.
Well, yes, I suppose. There is something a little bit unsettling about it, isn't there?
And yet more of the understatement, Barwell.
When I was asked to work in this department, I had never had an opportunity like this before. Hiram, I'm not a talented engineer like yourself. Well, I spent my time in the guild, and I am a master, but I'd never had a chance to work on exciting things like this. I do as I'm told, Hiram.
Barwell, tell me everything you know about whatever this is. Where in Sirtwana was it found? How was it found? What does it have to do with Brightstone? It's not a solid, it doesn't shine. It is not a stone. What is this?
Oh, okay, Hiram, yes. I'll tell you what I know.